Testing 1, 2. Can
Dude,
you all hear me?
I'm an unofficial IT wizard.
I believe it.
Very proud of myself. I just did that whole thing myself. Yeah. I'm gonna walk into Best Buy, just go up there. Can I help you, sir? No, you fucking can't. So,
got some IT sorcery at your fingertips, Kane.
Yeah. What'd you say? Help me? No. Can I help you, motherfucker?
No, that's the right attitude.
I was in the neighborhood, figured I'd lend a hand. How can I help you guys bust professional trouble buster.
All right, so let's get this show started. So this is our first episode of PiñaTalks. We sit down, discuss blockchain and crypto with leaders and influencers in the community. There's a lot of new trends, a lot of great things going on in 2021. This is probably going to be one of the most important years for cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. So as we've been promoting, as we've been discussing all week, I would like to introduce everybody, the entire world watching this, to Mr. Kane Mayfield, a good, I would say even close friend now, and I know it's only been 2 weeks.
We've covered a lot of ground, though.
We covered a lot of ground, a tremendous amount of ground. A very well-accomplished NFT musician and artist, and I've gone through your music and your NFTs, so we have a lot of questions, a lot of substance, a lot of ground to cover today. So just to introduce myself, my name is Adam. I'm one of the co-founders of PiñaPay, and I'd like to introduce everybody to Chris. He is the idea guy, CEO, co-founder of PiñaPay. This brilliant idea came out of his mind palace, and I've been on for 7 months. So about 7 months ago, Chris, we connected.
Nice.
Told me this idea. I'm like, sign me up. I'm in. Let's do this. Which way? Which way do we charge? So, Chris, how about a little bit about yourself? Tell the fine people.
So name's Chris. I met Kane. I had met down at the Bitcoin conference, so I'm glad to be having this conversation with you a couple weeks later. Me and Adam met online, LinkedIn, we had a lot of mutual interests, and I reached out to him and said, hey, what do you think about this concept that I'm working on for the hospitality industry? A bunch of solutions using blockchain, and he thought it was very interesting. Right now, a lot of small businesses need our help, and this is a way we can use an application and blockchain to help them do that during these difficult times. But I don't want to talk too much about Piña right now. I know we have Kane on to talk more about what he's doing with music and NFTs, and I'm really interested to learn about that. If we want, we can dive into PiñaPay a little bit later if it comes up in the conversation. But right now, I really want to learn a little bit about what Kane's background, what inspired him to get into music, and what led him down the crypto rabbit hole into NFTs. So,
yeah, let's get into the Kane Mayfield origin story. Yeah.
Well, just make sure you keep me on at the end for the PiñaPay part, because when we were talking, it was Bitcoin, so it was extremely loud.
Oh yeah,
so it sounded like PiñaPay because I couldn't hear you. So I thought you guys might have been some sort of sex workers, and I was like, well, they're in the right place. And you guys loaded, but I mean, why? Is it my shirt? Why are they approaching me? I just, you're handsome guys. I mean, you're really good looking.
Thank you.
Come on now.
It was Miami, so I was like, oh.
We were on the prowl. We were on the prowl.
I was like, these hookers.
It was like
almost anything goes in Miami.
So.
Almost anything goes.
Yeah, they approached me with a double clock. I was like, whoa, what's happening here? So, I was in finance for a long time, and that was kind of my world. I was a rapper as a kid. I mean, we rapped as kids. It was the 90s. Everybody rapped. You battle somebody's mom in the living room. Back then. Everyone rapped. People's parents rapped because it was the 90s. So you got people who were freestyling in the park in '82, in their 20s, but they got kids now. So now they're in their late 30s, but they're parents. So you know what I mean. So the culture was there, and speaking of which, I got my man Pat on here, my man Lou, Bronx Barbers, down in Miami.
Nice.
Wonderful guy. Got the camera on pink on there. But we were in a group called the Link Click, and then we changed our name 90 times. It was like the rap version of Andy Dwyer from Parks and Rec. You know, we were Mouse Rat, we were the kick face champions. We were all kinds of things, right? But we had a deal come about where we had at the time, the biggest thing that happened to us was a record deal. And they looked at the three of us and said, yeah, you guys are great. And we were like, yay! They were like, not him. You two. To my cousins. So it was like, all right, Kane, we'll meet you in the car. And I was like, but I don't want to be a rapper. Fine. So my cousins were better rappers than me, so I figured I better get a job. So I became a stockbroker. And I did that for a considerable amount of time. From there, I went into other kinds of finance and just derivatives and all kinds of other fun stuff. And when it was all said and done, I still rhymed as a way of keeping in touch with that part of my world. Because when I left, that world is still happening. You know, people are dying, people are going to jail, you know, all the stuff that comes with that. And not rap, but just street stuff.
Yeah.
And these are my friends. You know, I love these guys. These are, you know, people who you call your cousin, but they're not, but they are. They're as close as any kind of family you're going to have. So, you know, you're over here having a great time, but see, you know, but you feel terrible. It's that survivor's guilt type thing. And I still wrote rhymes. And I say maybe I got a little better over the years, but nothing dramatic. And then my mentor dies and my fiance and I break up. So I'm sitting in this big house that I built by myself, and I got a bottle of really fancy scotch and a 45. And I'm like, well, this is dramatic. I'm going to go write some raps. And I just went and wrote some raps. It was therapy. And I recorded them and sent them to my friends. It's the MySpace era. So someone got a hold of them locally and was like, hey, man, you know, we had a long conversation, good talk, and said, yeah, man, you're pretty good. You should do an EP. Fuck is an EP? It's like a small project. For what? Wasn't that what you're doing? You're being a rapper? I was like, rapper? I got a mortgage. What the fuck is wrong with you? Rapper? You crazy? Join the circus at 26? No, what do you mind? No, I won't be being a rapper with you and your friends, but thank you for the offer of poverty and royalty. You have a fantastic one. And he's like, look, man, I talked to you already. So if you don't want to do it because you don't want to do it, you're not interested, that's one thing. But if you don't think you're good enough, I'm telling you, you are. And really what it was that deal that fell through when I was a kid, that you're not good enough. And it's in my head that it's funny how little things that happen to us along the way stick with us, and we believe convenient lies about ourselves.
Yeah.
So I'm not good enough. So Dwayne Lawson, Headphones, Mania Music Group, he convinced me that I was good enough. Now, I wasn't good enough at that point. He's like, you have the ability if you learn how to write a song. So he taught me how to write songs. He taught me how to bar structure. I was a 90 bar, you know, rap till I'm tired guy. It's not songs. It's a bar festival, a bar mitzvah, if you will.
Bar mitzvah, I like that.
So he taught me how to be an artist, how to move the business. The business part came easier because I understood it. You know, I understand business and the quid pro quo of it. And we had a fantastic run. And that run never technically ended. I mean, I paused it after my parents died. I lost both my parents in 1 year. At the peak. No, I'm fine now. Yesterday was my mom's birthday. And it was probably the first year that I was like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
So
takes time.
Yeah, it always takes time. And I feel, you know, spiritual and all the things, and she's helping me and all that. But the peak of my career, we're doing sold out one-man shows back to back. No opener, no feature, no bringing my friends up, just me for an hour and a half and a packed out crowd. We're turning away people because we learned how to cultivate that base, and we made what I think was quality music. So that being,
where was your base at the time?
Baltimore.
Where were you based? Baltimore at that time. Okay.
Yeah, when I left finance, my mentor, this is the kind of mentor I had, we lived together. He spent the rent money that we gave him on having a great time and didn't pay the rent, so we got evicted. So I was like, fuck. And at that point, I moved my mom to Maryland to be close to my brother because she wasn't well. So I said, okay, well, let me just come down here for the week and I'll come back. Came down for the weekend, stayed for 10 years.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen to me in Miami.
Oh yeah. Well, the difference is Baltimore is it's a charming, like it's charm. People have negative about. I love Baltimore. It's a great place. I have a
friend that lives there. Yeah,
love the memories. Miami is an acquired taste. So like, if you don't mind talking to a 70-something-year-old dude with tight leather leopard skin pants on and no shirt and sleeve tattoos and nipple rings and a pork pie hat with a parrot on his shoulder, smoking a clove cigarette, because you're going to talk to that motherfucker.
Clove cigarettes. Yeah.
Little cups of Turkish coffee.
Definitely
one of the many looks of South Beach, place. I have to say.
Much different down there.
Hey, no worries.
I'm a real libertarian.
Very.
Hey. No, I'm a real libertine. Those are the other ones.
Hey, listen, we're real free thinkers over here too, so you're in good company.
Yeah, well, it's about just being happy. So music became this thing. It was fun. I mean, that's no disrespect to any of my clients, but like stock, mortgages, I wasn't exactly Honest Abe for a living,
Yeah.
And music, I get to tell the truth. And believe it or not, at that point in my life, the truth was like, oh, I just told the truth. Like I did something naughty. It was a weird, liberating feeling.
Right. So that was almost taboo. Coming from your background, selling securities, getting into
the truth.
Yeah, selling, subprime mortgages, as we talked, I wanted to get into the weeds a little bit with you during your time as a stockbroker. I think the reason why is this. So, cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, its boom, so to say, is pretty new. But I don't think necessarily a lot of people really remember how things were with a lot of the old financial systems. And obviously we're dealing with a lot of the problems today, but the stockbroker, securities trader culture is very, very unique. I could say it's almost like a cult, and you were well deep into that for a while. And if you're somebody born after 1999 or 2000, you're not really going to understand the way it was back then. Now, I only had a brief amount of time in that culture, but Kane, you were there for quite a while, so I think people should know your background here, because that will also explain why here in 2021, why the world is moving towards cryptocurrency and blockchain.
Oh, 100%. You want to know how I got into it?
Yes.
So I actually didn't tell you the story. So I go to my brother left, I'm the youngest, so he went to college in Baltimore. Yeah. And my cousin was also there. And I went for the summer and played basketball, and I didn't know college was synonymous for poor. So they didn't have food. They didn't have the basic elements of food. I got fat again, but I was a fat kid. And then I got skinny when I went to the summer with him. I came back with a damn six-pack because they didn't have flour. They didn't have things you use to make food. Like they had nothing.
Right.
My cousin worked for Papa John's, and sometimes we had pizza. Like that was a big deal. It was like a red letter day when we had pizza. Yeah. That was the first time I ever had Papa John's. Like, this is weird. It's not New York pizza. And I was like, why do they put like a pepper in the box? What the fuck is wrong with them? Like somebody dropped that in there by accident?
Right.
Why are you bringing home peppers? What's wrong with you? Garlic sauce on a pizza.
It's fucking cardboard and ketchup. That's what I call it.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, you absolutely. People with your access to delicious pizza, you don't have to survive in the world like me. You make fucking compromises, okay? You compromise and you betray yourself. And I apologize for the fine pizza at Nino's Pizzeria in Mastic. I let you down. And I never thought it'd come to this. I'm sorry.
But hey, listen, you're a Long Island guy, so you know good pizza as well. So I'll tell you this: if you go outside, if you go outside that norm, you taste the difference immediately.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
You can't get a buttered roll south of Jersey. But anyway, sorry. So I went to Baltimore when I graduated. When I graduated high school, my mom said, French word for it. She said, fucking get out. So I went to go live with my brother and go to college, and my grades were terrible. So I went to Suffolk. I went to Essex Community College, and I was playing basketball, going to school, and working. Couldn't do all three. Ended up quitting school and basketball, and I just sold credit cards for MBNA American Bank over the phone. Come to find out, I'm a good salesperson. Get fired from there for cashing my commission check twice. Go to MCI. I talked to a stockbroker on the phone while I'm selling him long distance. And he goes, you're really good. You should be a stockbroker. And I'm like, oh, yeah, really great. Just give me your social. Sure.
That's right.
What you said. Yeah, 100%. Definitely look into that. Yeah, give me your phone. So, and I'm slamming this guy like 19 different products you don't need. And he goes, listen, I know you're blowing me off. I make, I think he said like 20 or 30 grand a month, which was astronomical. And that was the first time I ever heard the word piker. And he goes,
piker,
and I'm a fucking piker.
So, for context, what year is this? So everybody knows.
This is 1999.
Okay, before September 11th. So this was still the good days of security.
Yeah, this was,
to say the least.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Killings it. So I go back home, get fired from MCI. Go back home. Go to college. And at this point, I'm 17, 18 years old, making 60, 70 grand a year, which at the time,
that's awesome.
It's a lot. Yeah.
I had so many do-rags and velour jumpsuits. Like, it was sad. It was really, really bad. It was a testament to just poor financial decisions. Not my last, by the way. Made a lot of them since then. I'm going to make more. I vow that to all of you. So I'm in my class. I'm sitting in college, and I feel like Henry Hill after Goodfellas. I'm poor. I'm talking to these kids about nothing. And I'm just sitting there like, this can't be right. And one day the business teacher just talks about some dumb, and I'm like, that's not right. He goes, you want to teach this class? You don't say that to people like me. So I give this long dissertation, how the customer is the sheep to be led by the shepherd, and the crook is what must strike him. I have I was nuts. And he goes, you're a sociopath. And one kid says, you need to call my cousin. You're supposed to be a stockbroker. I said, yeah, I heard about that, but I didn't break nothing. What are you talking about? He gives me a card, and I was one of the last kids for the time frame to be sold on the parking lot. I pull up in my 99 Pontiac Grand Am, fire engine red, styling and profiling. Remember, 60 grand, I'm doing it up.
Right.
And it's a Pontiac Grand Am GT. Just for in case you check. So I pull into a parking lot where Mercedes and BMW is like Honda and Nissan. Lamborghinis, Bentleys. First time I ever saw an Aston Martin. I said, what's that? Aston Martin. I was like, is that his name? What kind of car is that? It's amazing. Never seen that like that before. Vipers and crazy shit. I was like, what do you guys do? And that's my introduction to it. Guys standing outside, and they're all young, and I watched these young guys who were not much older than me, jumping out of Escalades with 24-inch rims, listening to Biggie. And I'm like, what is this? What kind of world is this? This is crazy. Yeah. And I go in, my first day at well, the company don't exist no more. My first day at Ladenburg Capital Management, someone does coke in front of me in the bathroom, and this guy gets the shit beat out of him and thrown down marble stairs.
Yeah.
First day. The first day at Milestone, a cold caller got his head put through sheetrock as I was walking past him on my way in. Someone grabbed him out and, boom, still writing wood. And I said, I don't know what wood is, but I'm never going to write it. I don't know what the fuck is happening to him.
Right.
And it's this world, but I don't know the difference. This is all the job to me. So the day I passed my Series 7, I get fired. Because the market's down. When I came
there's a little mini recession at the end of the night. Yeah.
When I see the end of the parking, when I see the parking lot, this is 2000.
Okay.
No, 2001. I'm sorry. When I see the parking lot, it's 2001, and I had to study. So I had to study for my test. It took a while, public school. So by the time I passed my 7, because you couldn't just cold call in that firm, you had to have a 7 first.
Right.
So you're a broker's property. You learn that quick. You are a broker's property. You're not a person.
Yeah, I experienced some of that. Yeah.
Property. I belonged, I'll say his name, he was kind of a dick to me. I belonged to Tony Pranzo. And he wasn't necessarily nice to me. And there was one guy that kind of made it all make sense, Mike Trottola. And he talked like Joe Pesci. I swear to God.
Yeah, there's a lot of those kind of guys. Yeah.
And I was late coming in.
Yeah.
And 2 other guys let the elevator close on me, and they were late. So I was behind them as I'm walking into the meeting. They're walking out. They just got fired. So I'm like, I'm about to get fired. So I go in, a fucking other one, black guy. You're always on time. What happened to you? I said, I mismanaged my time, sir. I apologize. If I have another opportunity, it won't happen again.
Now I got a few questions for you. So being that young, okay, so making that kind of salary, let's say between like 99, early 2000, 2001. So, so you're a young guy, you got your Series 7. So even in 99, making 60, 70 a year, that is awesome money.
I make more than your parents.
Right. So let me ask you something. What was the most outrageous thing you bought during that time, at that age, making that kind of money?
I did a Pretty Woman. Except I did it wrong because I'm stupid.
Oh, okay.
I went to a store in my bullshit basketball.
So you just went like at a shopping spree all up and down Fifth Avenue, or?
No. This is in Baltimore. There's a store in Houston Mall called like Athletic Attic or something like that. Okay. And they sold high end, but not high end. Overpriced bullshit clothes, iceberg sweaters. Drug dealers. So the place you go in to waste money because you have it. So I go in there, and I'm in my basketball shorts. Now I can clearly afford anything I want, but I don't look like it. So he's like, and they did the whole, no, sir, these are very expensive things. Oh. And I was like, and they really like went hard, and I just said, oh, okay. I went a couple weeks, got a haircut, put a suit on, went back in there, and I should have Pretty Woman did. Big mistake, but I'm a fucking idiot. So I bought a $900 velour sweatsuit.
Jesus.
That's wow.
I still have it. I'm never throwing it away.
I don't think you should. That's an artifact. That's a relic. You should keep it.
Yeah, it's like an ice skating suit on me now. But boy, let me tell you, it was Pelly Pell, and I've still got it. It was a yellow and rain colored. It was hideous, but you couldn't tell me that.
Wow. All right. So as we all
know.
Wait,
sorry. But I want to make sure I said that meeting that I was late for.
Yeah.
Mike told me to sit down because I was honest. I learned being honest helps in situations like that. Yeah. And then he proceeded to say the most profound thing I've ever heard anyone say in the business. Because we were trainees, so brokers would come in and tell us about all their boats and yachts and how great their lives are and how.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah. Now, you guys been sitting here listening to all these fucking hot shots talking about their fucking bankroll, fucking this and that. Let me tell you something. If they didn't have this fucking job, they'd be sucking some dick in Central Park. And I said, yo, what the fuck? And he goes, black guy, that makes you laugh? I said, they wouldn't like work at the post office. It's just this or dick. He goes, you got it. that told me everything I needed to know about the business. You don't want to fail.
Yeah. So so as we all know, the stockbroker culture, it is almost like a cult, and it's a culture where it's almost all guys. Actually, it's all guys for the most part, and it's you live hard, you play hard, you party hard. So these are 15-hour days. High expectations to sell as many securities as possible, and a lot of the so-called debauchery that you'll see in movies like Boiler Room, Wolf of Wall Street. That's a lot truer than most people think. Even with my experience. But Kane, tell me some of your stories and some of what you experienced, and some of what you saw when you were in that.
I didn't know I was in a cult because it's not a formal one with cool outfits and shit. We didn't have the spaceships or nothing like that.
Right. Yeah. No Kool-Aid or anything like that.
It's not politically correct to say it now, but everything that gave you a semblance of comfort, decency, or humanity was themed for queers.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Lunch breaks are for queers. Breaks of any kind are for queers. Chairs are for queers.
Vacation. Yeah. Anything,
what?
Yeah.
What? Is that a French word? But you French
exactly. Exactly.
And
right.
You fall into it because everything that they teach you is being taught to you by a guy 5 or 6 years older than you with substantial. You're talking to guys who are making $200,000-$300,000 a month.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sitting right there with the same phone in his hand that you got, but he's making millions of dollars jump out of it. Life-changing money. And then you hear the stories. The guy, I don't want to say anybody's name, embarrass anybody, who was sleeping in the streets. A good friend of mine was living in a tent.
Yeah.
Guys who had these, one day you flip the right lead card. And I said, not to rap, but I said it in a thing called Friends Become Strangers. I said, I knew a guy who used to sleep in a tent. Flip the right lead card, scribbled with a pen, a couple of tickle symbols, then the stock price doubled, tripled. Nowadays he creeps into Benz. The same guy bumming nickels for a coffee. 2 days later, is jumping out of Porsches from eating out the garbage in the office to tipping $20 on a $7 corned beef. But for the dough, people lost it. Not they don't, but they sold, pay the cost. Just you feed them for a stack, they bread it up. Even when you ask what the secret is, fades off. What the secret is, he said, I don't owe nobody nothing. And that's the ethos of guys who really, some of them have hard luck stories. Stockbrokers not down in the exchange floor like trading places. You're in a fucking phone room somewhere. I'm in a phone room in Ronkonkoma, Long Island. There's no Wall Street. These are the guys, and I didn't realize then the place I started at was Milestone with Bobby, and anyone from that place, that time, this is all a very small community. I am who I say I am. Bobby, Louie, Tootie, Noel, Bob Noley, like it's real guys. Shaw, Gene McAdams, Dan, great. These guys are like the jerseys on the wall of my gym. And I mean, some people look at them differently, but you spend 16 hours a day with somebody, 18 hours a day with somebody. It's not a coworker anymore.
No.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it after our conversation the other day. Guys used to go home and eat dinner. Just think about this. You go home and eat dinner and come back to work. Just do that around. You go to work at 7 in the morning. Breakfast, 8, coffee, drink, Wall Street Journal, you're ready to rock and roll before the market opens because you're calling the Bahamas because they're an hour ahead.
Right.
You're hitting the phones. You don't take a lunch because lunch is. So what do you do? Keep working until the bell. At the bell, you stand up and everyone did an accountability check. And I'm talking from the biggest trader to the littlest cold caller, which was me. What did you accomplish today? And in front of the whole firm, you will say vocally what you did that day. And if you did good, attaboy. If you didn't do shit, you got ripped in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And that was real accountability check. But you didn't feel bad because everyone gets ripped sometimes.
Anybody is going to end up on the chopping block if they fall short.
Exactly. So, but then you go, some guys go home. They'll go to the gym, work out, like Louie would go work out, and then maybe eat dinner, and then come back to work to dial for the evening. So you spend a lot of time with these guys, and they watch you become like you're everyone, no matter who you are, what you are, you start as nothing, your property, your chattel. It's not slavery, it's indentured servitude. You belong to your broker. Your broker, like what happened to me, my broker blew his book up. He can't afford me anymore. I become the firm's property. Firm ain't going to just pay me to sit there. So they force a broker to take me, who may not even want me, who may not even like me. So he told me, I don't fucking want you. It's $250 a week. You fuck up, I'm getting $250 a week for 17, 15 hours a day, right? You make a mistake, you do anything wrong, I start docking you. For $250 a week that he always found some reason not to pay me, I worked like an animal. But I worked hard. And you learn, but you're made of metal. And guys crack, guys break.
Yeah.
A guy broke in front of me one day. He looked up, he was fine. I looked back at him, he looks up at me, blunk, and then he just starts putting this stuff in boxes. And you would think in a room full of alpha males and egomaniacs and young guys and the ribbing and the locker room, like someone would laugh. And one guy did. One guy, fucking yeah, fucking. And they looked at him like hyenas. That's a real fucking guy. He tried. It just wasn't for him. It wasn't lack of effort. It was lack of, he just didn't have the metal. And that's not something you would ever. So yeah, when you have that kind of relationship with your coworkers and you're out and some dick from Morgan Stanley calls you boiler room, there was a point in time in my life calling me words. It's like calling me a nigga. I'm gonna punch you in your face. Yeah. And I took boiler room more seriously than you calling me a nigga. Because the niggas is ignorant. Boiler room, well, you're denigrating me and my brothers. You're talking about guys I look up to. Oh, we can't let that ride.
This is like your platoon, effectively.
Yeah. You love your sergeant.
Right.
Yeah. I watched a guy, and I'm not going to say his name. He unauthorized traded somebody. And it was stock short. We talk about naked shorts a lot in the news these days.
Yeah.
He unauthorized traded somebody naked short on a stock that flew. And I'm talking 300%. He went from having a very large account to a negative couple $100,000 margin call.
Oh, yeah.
And that wasn't covering it. That was just the margin call.
Oh.
And yeah. And the head of the firm took care of it. Didn't have to. Could have held the broker out, could have did anything, but he took care of it and made the guy whole himself.
Wow. So that is really the flip side of this aggressive, cutthroat industry. Is almost like a brotherhood at some point when you're there long enough.
When Bobby fired me, he felt bad a little bit. And he knows I looked up to him and I was not going to be a problem. My senior broker, who, fuck that guy these days, but my senior broker wanted weed. And I'm not a drug dealer, but I'm a young black guy, so they assume I know how to get weed. So I sent them some friends of mine. They're my friends, but they're friends were wild back then. So they robbed him. They didn't rob him. He didn't show me the weed, show me the money. You don't give the money before you get, that's just common sense.
Right.
And they was like, thanks. And they left and went to the strip club and spent his money. So I come in the next day, everyone looks at me like I set him up. Long story short, I get fired. Bobby goes, I know what you are. You're a good kid. Your friends are idiots, but they're not going to listen to you. You didn't have anything to do with it. But a broker got robbed and his cold caller might be responsible. Doesn't look good. Got to fire you, kid. And I felt like I was kicked out of Eden. That's a job that I worked countless hours for $250 a week that I always found some reason not to get paid. I almost cried having to leave because where else am I going to have these titans, these great guys to learn from? So the cult's not a bad description. Then I went to Gun Allen, and those guys are awesome. And I went to Maxim, where I really learned how to be a broker. And those guys were, I owe Bill Coombs, Neil Evertson, Brian Shaw taught me everything. Like, these aren't names you forget when you work with people. So to leave, but you also have a lot of maxims that you tell yourself that are probably not very healthy. They don't sound good when you say them out loud, especially in this day and age. I'd rather be dead than broke again.
Yep.
That's not an uncommon thing for you to hear people say. That world gets in you. 1,000 dials a day or you're fired. So you introduce that into the mortgage business in the late 2000s, I look around and I go, you're all a bunch of pikers. And they go, what's a piker? I was like,
here we go.
Yeah, you guys are nothing. Watch this. They go, dude, how do you do that? I go, because I'm a machine. Sit down. You get the chair out of here. Chairs are for quid. And he's like, and the Adam Fitzpatrick's like, hey, I'm gonna treat you like a fresh air fun kid. You ain't gotta do none of that no more. And I was like, what do you mean? I did good, right? He's like, you're way too intense. I need you to take that. Okay. Were you on the phone with that customer? Were you cussing? I said, no, it's okay. You're a fucking guy. He goes, you can't cuss at the customers. Fuck is this guy talking about? What?
Right. Now, yeah,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Now, I remember there was a few hard and fast rules. Now, you watch movies, the life of being a stockbroker appears glamorous. You think of the guy on the trading floor at the New York Stock Exchange. And by the way, it's almost always a guy. And there is some truth in this. In reality, you're on your feet all day, making hundreds, if not close to 1,000 calls per day. Now, when I was there, they gave me a few hard and fast rules. One of them was you never call people in New York, New Jersey, or California because they damn know better. They damn well know better than that. So
the know better. All right. So the way that gets told and the practicality behind it aren't always lined up. So you don't call local people because the entire straight line pitch that came from Lehman Brothers that we all used was aimed at your local broker. All the jokes we made. How is your local broker doing? Is he making you money or are you making donations to him? All that stuff we did.
Right.
Well, if you live near, I'm your local broker if I'm calling around here. That's one. Two, we don't do face-to-face. We're kids. We sound like adults, but we're kids. Even the guys who I think are these big grown men are 24, 26, 30. 30 is like, oh, man.
Yeah.
You're double OG. So these guys are kids. We're talking to multi-millionaires about large quantities of money. And we're very casual about large quantities of money. A lot of us are faking it till we make it. That guy don't need to know you drive a Civic. That guy don't need to know you got a bullshit house and a bullshit watch and bullshit shoes. You're a bullshit broker just trying to make it. But eventually you get enough of those away guys. And I've seen people who did, like one of Bobby's clients, Cipriani's, like that's real. It's not, I'm not talking out of school. As everyone knows, everyone knew that. One of Bobby's clients, one of his biggest clients, the Cipriani, the guy, the old Italian man. Bobby was legendary. And, those guys, the rules they tell you, don't pitch the bitch and all that stuff you'll hear. Yeah. But for all that hard, fast woman talk, a lot of them guys end up marrying their sales assistant.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
They don't outside that circle. Yeah. Like you said, you go home, you eat, you come back, you're not.
Who else would understand you?
Yeah, exactly.
Really? Who else would truly understand your world? Who else can you trust with your money?
Right.
Who? When vacations, and I remember saying there's two clients. One of them, there's two clients, very different people. I'll just say David A. David A. needs to know how much he's down to the penny. David B. can never know how much he's down. If you confuse those two, my world ends. Who can hold my world for me while I go to Dominican Republic or wherever the fuck this girl wants to go?
Right.
Who can do that for me? Who can hold my world and make sure it's safe while I'm wasting time and money?
Yeah.
You lose relationships. You want a busy man or a broke man. And since most of those guys don't come from money, they're not going back to being poor for love.
No.
Ever. So the only people that you can depend on that are stable in your world are your brothers around you.
And I noticed.
Is your sales assistant.
And I noticed too with the the stockbroker culture, you never meet any. And I'm not talking about the Morgan Stanleys, the Salomon Smith brothers. I'm talking about the legit. You could call them brokerages, boiler rooms, whatever. These aren't trust fund kids you're working with. This isn't old money you're working with. These are guys from all the neighborhoods around you in the boroughs, northern New Jersey, New York, Queens, Brooklyn, wherever. So everybody, when in my experience there, nobody came from money. Nobody. And if they did come from money, they were working for their dad at probably Morgan Stanley or something like that.
I think we both know the same Dan, Dan Denard. Much respect.
Yeah.
Denard Brown's legendary guy. Really, honestly, super great guy. Just a lot of respect for him.
Yeah.
And I watched him invite somebody to a parking lot meeting. It's the first time I've ever heard a parking lot meeting. We're in close quarters, man. So there's going to be disagreements. We can step outside and settle this, and then come back to work. Because we're going to keep working. I mean, I'm not going to stop working. It's not in the cards. We will work. And those guys, I hate to sound so like I romanticize it, but really when you're a kid, it is the most fantastical thing you've ever seen. But there's also a lot of negative habits. There's negative stuff. And a lot of that stuff you have to shake off you later because it stays on you forever. I talked to my buddy Shaw about it, and Shaw hired me after Milestone, still very good friend of mine, very close friend of mine. He's one of the only people. It's like we were both in a juvenile facility together.
Yeah.
He's one of the only guys who, unless you were there, it's really hard to understand. You would never just go against your senior broker. Like, guys try, but it's politics. You'll get shut down.
Now, let me ask you something. So, ultimately, working at a brokerage as a stockbroker, you're really selling garbage securities to people who are really unsophisticated in this. They don't really know anything about it. So what I want
you, how dare you? Those were solid securities, sir. My first account that I opened, Dr. Arnaldo Martinez, who is a Puerto Rican toe doctor living in the Virgin Islands, was for 1,000 shares of American Express. Take that.
All right, will do. But let me ask you. Well, let me ask you, how do you get comfortable over time? Because I'm sure you even know this. You sell securities. Some people, these securities go belly up. People will lose tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, you're a young guy. You're making a ton of money. So, at what point, or at least how do you become comfortable with the fact I may be ruining somebody's financial life, their marriage, even like all this stuff?
That's the movies. That's fantastic theater for movies. Truth be told, you're talking to a credit. This isn't crypto. This isn't Forex where you're doing an MLM or some shit that hurts normal people. I'm talking to an accredited investor. An accredited investor who not only has, but will admit to having.
I'm a non-accredited investor. Those are the people I'm talking about.
I can't touch a non-accredited investor. I can't touch a civilian.
Okay.
So even when I'm a broker and my friends, hey, what's up, man? You know some good stonks? And that's a real thing. And even if I wanted to, I couldn't touch you.
All right.
You're off limits.
So just to put it out there, accredited investor for all the viewers, this is a high net worth individual. Often they either earn per year or are worth at least $2 million and up. So securities law presumes that they are sophisticated enough to participate in essentially, riskier securities, but also they receive certain benefits as their status as an accredited investor as well.
$1 million in net worth that at least they'll admit to.
Right, million,
and $250,000 in common stock.
Okay.
If you do not have $250,000 in common stock, that is referred to as a wood lead. It's not a lead. What if you got? There's guys who have quite a bit in funds or funds of funds, or they have it in bonds, or older guys. People didn't buy stock in the 80s; they bought bonds, junk bonds, but bonds.
Junk bonds, yeah.
And some of the guys are still bond heavy. So when you talk to a guy who got $4 million in bonds, He's not rolling the dice with you.
No.
And to answer the original question of how I feel and how I dealt with it, you're not talking to you. Don't think with your own pockets is what they used to teach you, because how much money you're asking for is a 5 spot to this guy. You are and will perpetually always be, hey, yo, you want to buy a watch? When I went to Merrill Lynch, they had a lot of harsh words for, where I came from, and a lot of the guys had it wasn't good-natured ribbing. It was bad-natured ribbing.
No, yeah, absolutely.
And I was very, very defensive about where I came from, because as you can see, 20 years later, I still really admire these guys. These guys are still, they're still real figures to me. Whatever happened to them and wherever they ended up, not my business. They were heroes when I was there. And watching some pikers that couldn't carry their fucking jockstrap talk spicy about them just didn't sit well with me, especially for some institution guys. And I'm sitting there looking at them like, you couldn't survive a minute in that office. You couldn't survive a minute in any of the offices I came from. Yeah. And they're, hey, boiler room, go faxes for me.
Right,
but
right.
I watched those guys during 2008. I watched those guys not return people's calls. I watched them not get back to their clients when they're down. Now, they can say what they want about a small NASD firm. That's what we were. We were simply small NASD firms. We weren't schlock houses or boiler rooms. We weren't fancy. We didn't have the Mercedes emblem, which doesn't account for shit, because the engine will break down just the same. So when that guy won't call you back, and I said, whoa, man, you're Merrill Lynch. That ain't play money. That's his kid's college money. Yeah, look, I get it. I'm scum, right? But you're Zales. I'm the guy in the alley who, hey, you want to buy a watch? You're fucking Zales. You won't call that guy back? Shame on you.
Yeah, that's not good.
Because you know what a stockbroker does? Not an investment advisor or any of the new words we have to call ourselves. You know what a stockbroker does?
They're dialing.
No one wants to make it back for you more than me, and you fucking mean it because you need that account.
Wow.
You learn how to deal with the hit.
Yeah. Absolutely. So how did all of this lead to you going to Bitcoin 2021 and essentially being an NFT musician and artist?
The credit goes to Rare Skrilla. Some people would know him as Rare Skrilla. Some people know him as DJ Pepe.
Yeah.
Some people know him as DJ J Skrilla. Skrilla and I had done records together. We went on tours together. He's a good friend. And I thought I knew him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But how frank can I be with this? Can I be frank with this?
Absolutely. Yeah. Fire away.
Cool. So crypto is a lot like jerking off with your feet. That's how I'm going somewhere, I promise. So apparently a subsection of people I know be jerking off with their feet. But no one wears a blue carnation, no one wears a forget-me-not. I don't know who these people are. So I have to call my brothers and go, hey man, how you been? How's the family? Sweet. Do you be jerking off with your feet? And they go, no, that's weird, crazy, you're weird. Okay, no problem, sorry about that. Tell your mom to click. Hey man, what's up? You jerk off with your feet? And they go, brother, I've been jerking off my feet since 2014. What's up?
That's exactly, that's crypto, man.
How you doing?
It's like this culture of people that they resonate with one another. They just know they see the future. You know what I mean? They see what's coming.
I get it now. You can't talk to anybody else about it because it's fucking gibberish. Skrilla, and I've said this to Skrilla, and I love Skrilla to death, and all the things that are happening to me now. I just sold another NFT. So Skrilla is responsible for a lot of that stuff happening to me. But he's so deep in Bitcoin, and he's been deep since 2012 or 13. He speaks pure blockchain. So if you're uninitiated, he's the worst motherfucker to talk to. Because because it's just him. His personality is very laid back. He's not like a hype guy. So he's just like, so you gotta like take your sushi and wrap it in some pancakes, and then you put your Ethereum wizards on it, and then you cast a spell, and then you Shangri-La, you flux capacitors capacitating. Make sure you set your dollar lithium crystals to like 12. Like I set mine at 12, but I've been doing it longer than you. So, you essentially got lived in Chris is like, as a Coach Wallet. And I said, are you fucking with me? Pancakes and sushi? Are you making a fat joke? Are you fucking with me? Hey, man, if you don't want to talk, just say you don't want to talk about it. And he's like, no, man. I know it sounds funny, but yeah, you got to wrap your sushi and your pancakes, get your swap on. Oh, all right. So cool. So he calls me to do a record, which turns out to be for Async. Shouts to Async. Big ups. Async does programmable music NFTs, which is still
nice.
That's what you were telling us about, yeah.
This is difficult to explain for people who know what the fuck I'm talking about. So Async has a cutting edge philosophy, and really what it is the user can customize the song. So imagine a song, the same song, 3 different drum patterns, 3 different beats, 3 different verses. Maybe you don't want so-and-so on it. You can cut him off. Like if you can cut You God off a Wu-Tang album, maybe. Look, no diss to You God, but I don't know what the fuck he was talking about on Deadly Medley on Wu-Tang. Alcohol, tut, boulder face, blow. What the fuck was that? I don't know what the fuck that meant. I didn't know then and I don't know now. So
whatever they could put together back then, man.
No, he's not Ghostface. He doesn't get away with doing things like that. Ghostface do what he wants. Ghostface can say whatever he wants. Rest of his career, carte blanche, courtesy Kane Mayfield. Everybody else, I'm listening, nigga. Point is the programmable NFT. Whereas, let's say you want to make like our song, Money Badger. You go to async.art. Money Badger. There's 27 different song combinations of different verses, different songs, different beats. One of the beats, we sample the sound of the blockchain.
Right, you told me about that. Listen to it, actually.
Yeah, it's really great. And we made a beat out of it, and not just a blockchain. I want to say it was one of the ones where Satoshi sent that first 10 Bitcoin.
Right.
So, I mean, we're talking. This is a groundbreaking thing. I don't understand that. Skrilla does. He says you should do this, and I say I don't know anything about crypto, none of that stuff. It's all French to me.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, but you were a stockbroker. I said, believe me, that shit don't fucking translate. I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. And he goes, yeah, you should do it anyway. I like Skrilla. I don't like telling him no. So I'll give it a shot. He starts me off with a list of crypto slang. Bro, I'm looking at this list while I'm on the phone with him, and I'm like, you're fucking with me again, right? Paper hands are bad. And diamond hands.
And when was this, for context, when was this around?
This is January.
Oh, in January.
I'm brand new. I'm fresh off the boat, man. The reason I'm able to converse about it is because, like that stockbroker shit that's still in my head, whenever something presents as a challenge or an opportunity, I dedicate. I've been doing 20-hour days for 2.5 months. And that's how
I tell you, when I first got into the rabbit hole, I was telling Adam earlier, I was buying Bitcoin at $15,000, $17,000 at the end of 17. I was getting in, not knowing shit. I was like, this is going to the moon. Let's do this. And when it fucking crashed, I was just like, wow, all right, shit. I just lost just about everything I got. So now I need to learn everything about this. So for the last 4 years, I've just been like you, man, at least 10 hours to 12 hours a day, listening to podcasts, reading books, Bitcoin Standard, everything that you could think of, I read. I got my hands on. I learned about EOS. I learned about Cardano. I learned about all the consensus algorithms. I've learned everything I could. Yeah, I read that book. I've everything that you can think of, I did. You know what I mean? And it worked out for me because I saw the future of what blockchain could do in liberating people and what internet did for industry. I see blockchain doing the same, being able to offer so much financial freedom to not only people but to businesses as well. Yeah, man, I know exactly what you've been doing the last 2 months, man. What?
Well, there's a really balancing side to it, and what I'm saying is that the community, to my experience, is abnormally helpful.
Yeah.
Everyone's
are you kidding me?
super friendly, super
it's
supportive.
out of control.
Want to learn. We honestly, the people who are into this, I can't talk to my friends right now. I love my friends. I love my man Black. Called me every day. He said, "What's up, man?" I'm like, I can't talk right now. He's like, "You didn't watch Snowfall?" No, motherfucker. I got this motherfucker trying to sample the Merkle root.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you still doing that thing? You all right?"
You're still doing that thing.
Well, you know what?
He's talking like Skrilla was to me.
Right.
Talking about
these are the people that are going to be calling you in 3 to 6 months like, hey, can you tell me about that shit that I was ignoring? Because I have a few friends now that, 2 or 3 years ago, I'm like, listen, this is the future. This is what you got to do. Whatever. Blew me off. I'm like, listen, you don't understand. Now they're coming back over the last 3-6 months. Hey, body, yo, man, what that shit that you were talking about, blockchain shit. What coin should I get into? I'm like, listen, you're a little late at this point. I'm like, you want to get in? It's high risk. It's not like I was telling you to get in a year ago, so you could be cashing out at this point, not buying in at this point.
You're never. Here's what I tell you, and this is what I tell people all the time. I say you're never late for an opportunity you know about.
Yeah.
Do you know about any opportunities?
I like that.
Well, that's why I'm calling you. Well, I presently don't have any, but maybe we can find some. You want to put in the work to help find some? But what most people would like is you see a stock shoot up, and I'll just use stock for example. When there's confetti from the parade, party's over. The old saying, when the cab driver tells you about it, it's time to bail. When there's blood from the massacre, maybe there's an opportunity there. So when they look at the bad and they're, well, listen, you got to have diamond hands. As a broker, I'm fucking Bruce Willis. I will dive out the window backwards, still shooting. I'm amazing. I'm fearless. With my money, huge pussy. Rice paper. Fucking what? Yeah, I'm legit. But it's going down, and that's my money. I'm not accredited. I don't have $1 million. So you have to really believe and hold tight for the long game. But to answer your question, I had to learn all these words. Right. That's what led me to calling everybody. And for Cryptology, there's 3 different versions. Willie Ways does a song called Rug Pull. So when you're down in the market, you want to listen to Rug Pull because don't get caught up in the rug pull. And it's this song of losing his ass. For just boom bap hip hop, my buddy Chamber did. You
gotta give that to Mark Cuban, man. You gotta give that song to Mark Cuban.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
play it for Elon
this week.
Play it for Elon too.
Oh fuck that guy, man! Jesus Christ! I read that. I was like, this motherfucker is comes in not knowing shit, thinks he's a millionaire. Oh, APY 200 plus a year. Let me just throw all this money in there. I mean, and then he goes and calls for regulation afterwards. Like, if you don't understand it, you shouldn't be dipping your toes in. You know what I mean? You have unlimited resources behind you to give you the best decision making possible, and you go into Titan with DAI. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and then he goes, "Oh, we got to regulate," So I'll
say this: I find, and I've found in my very short amount of years on this spinning ball of dirt and water, that the very affluent do a lot of different things for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes, not that this is the case, and it's certainly not a conspiracy theorist, as you can see, no tinfoil, not inside neither. Wouldn't do that to lose hat. Sometimes taking a loss can be profitable.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I would never say he rug pulled himself, because that'd be crazy. Why would anyone say that where anyone could hear them? But
right,
he could have, 100%.
Why would that be that? Are you saying that? I would never say that. I didn't say that. You, frankly, you brought it up. So, I'm not mad at anybody. I just look at it like there are positions that a lot of these guys, and this is just from hanging around for a lot of hours in the last couple months. There's positions that a lot of these people are sincerely dedicated to. And if you look at something like Venus damn near got fucking support groups. Venus, there's people who are still hodl Venus and they're hodl to the end. And you got to be a real different kind of human to root against them. So someone who's got the nuts to hold, and he's holding, and he's DCAing, and he's DCAing, and he's almost even because of how much he's down and how much he's still dollar cost averaging. You gotta have respect for that guy. And I just think that anyone who does anything to fuck a position for someone like that, that's a rare human that I don't know. I personally don't think I know anyone like that. Not personally, because that's just a different kind of person. But obscene amounts of money leads to some obscene types of thoughts, and people do things for their own reasons.
Yeah. I have a question. So what do you think NFTs mean for music in the music industry?
It's a great question. I apologize that I'm long-winded and I speak in analogies. It's how I know how to communicate.
By all means.
Imagine a world where vampires are real. Not fanciful. We're not talking sci-fi here. It's sci-fi, but we're not talking like vampires exist and they're hidden. No. Open in the world. There's part of the ecosystem. A vampire knocks on your door. Obviously, the law says you gotta let him in. He's not gonna kill you or make you a vampire. He's just being hungry. We don't want them hungry, right? We had hundreds of years of vampires being hungry. Now we all agree it's the law. Follow the law. Hey, I heard you didn't answer your door. I was in the shower. Come on, man, prove it. The water bill says you weren't. Imagine that world.
Right.
It's fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like it's so crazy to think of a world where artists don't have middlemen. It's so crazy that they're rolling out crypto clauses and putting them in people's contracts because they can't even fathom a fucking world where there's no middleman and it's artist to consumer.
Yeah.
What the fuck do I need you for? Why do I need them? You don't.
Every industry's shaking in the boot.
Shout to my man Lawrence Cosby. Cosby on Twitter, a big Koala fan. He's also a pretty damn good lawyer, and he made a really valid point to me the other day. Copyright and stuff like that, life plus 75 years. This is perpetual.
Yeah. Vincent
Van Gogh didn't die Van Gogh, the master painter who celebrated. He died Vinny the broke-ass nothing, living with his brother Theodore. He sold one painting in his lifetime, the Red Vineyard, for 400 francs.
Yeah.
Is that fair? But people make a lot of money off his work, don't they? What does his family get? Nothing. A world without vampires seems like science fiction. I think a world with this vampire problem is science fiction. And I think that NFTs can potentially be the solution. Will it be? I mean, it's business and business will business. And corporate people will corporate. And rules will get regulated. And, politicians are for sale largely. So you can pass a law with enough money in this country. The question is,
that's true.
Can they really attack this space? And my answer to that is no. This space, like it or not, is STEM. Who you got smarter than the people in this space? Nobody. The crypto world is comprised almost entirely of the best minds the world has to offer.
Yeah.
So whether they're in the medical field, and this can work with record keeping, whether they're in business, and this can with PiñaPay, and it can work for just hospitality. I know a timeshare is doing a thing with a hotel and using NFTs. I was reading it yesterday, or just using NFT is a different delivery mechanism for music, or you're doing something really innovative like async, and you're letting the user program it and do all this fun stuff. You can't what post offices did to the stamp was a bit excessive. And then what post offices did to like the telegram people. I'm sorry, that's what I want to say. The telegram people.
Right.
Shut their fucking lights out, right? Nobody cried over them. Not that knowing that we remember, right? And then what emails did the post offices.
Yep.
You're a glorified FedEx to me now. I don't have a reason to ever go into a post office. So I got a P.O. box. What NFTs will do to this will be irreversible.
Yeah. No, 100%. I'm 100% and think that NFTs, you know, as ownership, especially in the digital world, and especially as people move into augmented reality and virtual reality, things are going to be more digital. And even not only that, things in the physical world can be represented with digital ownership. I mean, you have a deed that's a physical paper that says you own a house. Why can't you just have a digital deed on your phone that says you own a house? So
dude, I
see it as the future.
I saw an AR shirt.
Yeah.
My man
That's
Easy
crazy.
from Lad City Token Smart, great guy. He had an AR shirt where you hold the camera up, and it was this great, I forget her name, but a phenomenal artist, and she's amazing. I just tweeted her the other day, her name escapes me. But the on the camera, the shirt's moving, but in reality, it's just still the practicality. It's amazing.
It's going to be a whole new world, man.
Open source and really the DAO will change the way business is forced to business. We are not boomers. We're not from the 50s. We're not from the 40s. We did not grow up with such an addiction to things being unfair and then being okay with it.
Yeah.
We are the generation that forced McDonald's to serve breakfast all fucking day. Remember who we are, yo.
Yeah.
I tell older people when they complain about kids, I go, yeah, they're fucking annoying and they're very difficult to talk to, very entitled. Yeah. We're also why you can get a fucking McMuffin at 12.
Right.
Because you motherfuckers took it on the chin your whole life. You walk in and some cocksucker goes, sorry, sir, it is 11:46. You want a Big Mac? McMuffin's right there. We'll give you one. You know what we do? I'll put you on our fucking YouTube. Push our phone in their faces. We get our goddamn McMuffin.
Yeah.
Entitled, right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yeah.
We get our McMuffin because we believe in fair.
Yeah.
Even at the cost of other people's fairness, but we believe in fair. So,
but I think to cut you off a little bit, I think that technology helped us with that too, because 20 years ago they didn't have a phone to be able to pull out and say this is what's going on live right now. You know what I mean? Had they had that, maybe it would be different. But it's the technology, man. And a lot of boomers do not want to accept new technology. It sucks. So I understand where you're coming from.
My backpack had a front pouch on my JanSport, so where I could keep about 4 to 5 tapes before it starts getting bulky, and then if I sit down the wrong way, it might crack one. Might crack a case. I had to sit and fucking deliberate, like I'm writing a UN Council treaty, which tapes will go with me that day in my Walkman with the face broke off that I have to hold with my thumb so that the tape don't fall out or get eaten. I have every song ever created in my phone, and it's not even in my phone. I can just yell to Google, and that woman will play anything for me.
Yep.
Takes a few tries, but she'll get it right eventually.
I get it, yeah.
Whether it's a song from my mom's childhood or the song that just came out yesterday, we are push-button gratification, but it's still America. It's still technology. There's always a faster, better mousetrap, so we keep improving on it. The blockchain and smart contracts for art, there really is no difference. It's just not theirs, so obviously that they probably have an issue with it. If you pop up with a Van Gogh tomorrow, just keep him going, you can't just say this is a Van Gogh. It's a fucking question. Where'd you get it from? Where'd they get it from? They're trying to trace the transaction history that with open source blockchain, I can just see. No room for a fake. When I can see where it went, I can see all the holders of this particular NFT.
Right.
So I think it's glorious, man. We didn't really cover it because I'm long-winded and I jump around a lot, but I quit. I wasn't coming back to music. I was done. My parents are dead. I did a couple shows. I made some money. I met all my heroes. I'm even. We're good. I went to Mexico for 2.5 years. I was never coming back ever. Series of events brought me back. Not all positive. I'm not on the run or nothing. They love me. And hey, by the way, shouts to San Jose do Cabo. It's Lupito. Hallelujah. They know I'm a big black guy who tips. I'm fucking mayor. Yeah. My soccer team won the championship. I was having a great time. I was like fucking eastbound and down, except without all the haters. So
hilarious. No, hilarious.
Yeah. So I had a great time, but
it was.
I wasn't gonna do music professionally ever again. And I actually told one of the marketing people from Async, really sweet lady. I said, I have my artist band on, and I said, thank you, because the last time I had this on, it felt like a handcuff. And she was like, I can't believe that. You're so happy. And I'm like, yeah, I'm happy now. I'm making my art the way I want to make it. It's just me and the fan. There's no one to please. Fuck a radio.
To get it to the
Cans. Would you rather sell? That's Nipsey Hussle did it. Would you rather sell, 10 CDs for $100 or one thing for $100?
Right.
I'd rather sell the one thing for $100. And today I sold an NFT for $200.
Let's talk about that. Let me do a screen share right now, and you can talk a little bit about that NFT. So
please.
Bear with me 1 second here. So
what platform are you using for this?
The world we live in.
Rarible. Okay.
Well, I believe it's the White Castle theory. For my boys up north, you can always appreciate it. But I'll use the Taco Bell for wherever people are when they're listening to this. The Taco Bell nearest to your home is your Taco Bell. And if you're going to go to Taco Bell, there's a 90% chance you're going to go to the one nearest to your house. People are the same way with everything. And since I'm new, I try to have a modicum of humility. I don't expect you to come see me where I'm at. I'll come to you. So if you're a Tez person and you're really down in the Hickenut community, which is a fucking amazing, amazing community full of really dope people, super helpful, like cheery almost. They're all fucking Minnesota nice, very, very nice people. But they're Tez. You got to mint in Tez. Low gas fees, but it's in Tez. Your KuCoin wallet, and you got to get that whole thing over there. So I put some art on Hickenut. I have stuff on Rarible. I have stuff on OpenSea. I have some stuff that I put up on Audius. I'm looking into putting some stuff on a few other platforms. I have projects that I want to release in whole to those platforms. And we have a few people in mind. Definitely a big, just gratuitous shout out to Token Smart. They're giving me my own show. That starts next Friday.
Nice.
We'll be on Token Smart. Awesome. So I've met some phenomenal people. The Cypher community on Token Smart, Easy in Crypto, Kinshasa, really great guys, Mighty Mai and Connie Digital. They're really great. They have a show called Bullish and Bearish on Token Smart. This is all the moving pieces that allow me to understand what I have. You can't just jump into this stuff and know it. Smart people have to take time and explain it to you. That record that you're looking at there called The World We Live In.
Yeah.
It was personal. I'll be honest with you. That record.
What's it about?
It really is about the world we live in. It's about not just race relations, but the struggle of the proletariat.
Yeah.
And when you see it and you see the police and they're moving in the GIF and the fists are pumping up and down, it's easy to think it's just a black and white issue. But it even in the record, it says, in Waco, the law set the fire. And they did.
Right. That's true.
In Waco, with Koresh and all of them, they didn't.
Yeah, David Koresh, yeah.
They didn't start. The law set the fire. So I said in Waco, the law set the fire. This ain't skin color. Everybody poor is invited. On Black Friday, we trample each other for cheap goods they supply us. It's never called a riot. Who orchestrates us to fuss? From officers break us like blunts. Off with you. Nothing to see, spray all of you. Pepper your eyes, prepper your mind for what war could do. They showed me glory. Runaway slaves whipped for shoes. We want whips and shoes. Today it's the same story. Stars, bars, and the lies that they taught me. That applies to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So how about this? Let's play a little bit of it.
Oh, cool.
For everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Yep.
I think you got it on mute.
Yeah.
You hear now?
No.
It's on mute.
It might be going through your headphones. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
Yeah, it's on mute. I see the.
Is it? Okay.
Mute button. Yeah. Scroll over the bottom
right there.
Yeah. How's that?
You got
they got to play.
You can hear it?
No, you got to hit play. No, I don't hear anything.
Nope, can't hear it.
Nothing, man. Yeah.
But it's
right.
Okay. Hold on. While it's playing, it says red bandana tied around the hand, black hand on a handgun. Who is the enemy? Fooled by the food of a centipede. We eat shit. Tell the nightly newscasters that we ain't this. Pessimistic. Every 4 years, politicians come to visit. Then every 8 years, politicians come to visit. Every 12 years, politicians come to witness. Gang violence. Young black males ringing bells that they silence. Amtrak rail and phased by it. Just roll out the window a child's face. Puzzle because there's no father. Well, that's a lie. See 300 men vigils. You living in a police state. You argue with you harboring a fugitive. You hardly catch a break. Catch a felony. They're taking your mom from Section 8 back to cognac sipping, hoping numb your brain and blind your eyes so you miss it when they run those games. Mr. President, Mr. Senator, Mr. Where you been, Mr. Minister, why you always need my bread again? Ain't this church big enough to hold my sins? You built a castle where they catch me and they broke my limbs. Stop and frisk members of Congress because they do dirt. Why you hassling Benny Blanco? They say he drew first. In Waco, lost at the fire. This ain't skin color. Everybody poor is invited. And then depart from before. Then it comes back and it says the world we live in. I said the world we live in. Gate full of pearls if you swirl these lemons. Make lemonade. You can see heaven if you keep stepping. Never mind, never ever not. Burn each village. A school raise a child. Cartoons make him smile. His father ain't around. Pill bottles bring him down. They say the hood ain't America. It's somewhere in Iowa where everybody's scared of us. Chi-town kids living in Contra. Barefoot children in Appalachia. They all the victims. They all forgotten. They all for prison. They all for killing if his Uncle Sam sponsored. They all for money. If you off to jail and enlist and lead a country, you should go to college. And never mind if you come back crazy with the PTSD, get a gun back, baby. We can't have you homeless and train with a weapon you keeping to overthrow us. Why don't you try a little crack? Let these young black kids say that. We'll arrest them. It's the essence of the world as we know it.
Yeah.
Damn, man. That's good. It's deep, but that's the world we live in, man. It's fucked. That's exactly
2021, unfortunately.
But it's not the world we have to live in.
Exactly. That's what we're trying to fix all together, man. Like, yeah. I don't know, Adam. I mean, we're developing an NFT platform for artists as well, but it's not your typical musician or artist. We're looking at culinary art. We're looking at beverages, mixologists. So what we're trying to do is like a rareable platform that allows I mean, you go through your Instagram or you go through your, Facebook, at least for me, half of what I'm seeing is people making some type of dish. It's Salt Bae. It's somebody. It's all food related. People love food. Can't go without it. How much do you think the original salt-based salt sprinkle would go for if somebody could buy that? You know what I mean? All this content. I mean, I feel like memorable dishes, memorable experiences could all be turned into an NFT. You know what I mean?
Food plays such a big priority, especially in this country, which is, a problem, but it's true and it's a thing. Cupcake K, who I told she needs to start doing NFTs yesterday. Cupcake K made Kane Mayfield cupcakes for my shows.
Nice.
And she also made chocolate mousse with liquor in them and like fucking with bacon on top. Amazing
Sounds
shit. And those kind of things, like broken down into an NFT and how she can do it and how gamify it and make it fun. Little things like that are how people. It's really what it is, and the reason why I think the NFT space can't really go anywhere. The same way MySpace and the iterations of Facebook and Twitter and people connecting people. Look at Clubhouse. Anyone who's ever been on Clubhouse, look how casually we talk to strangers virtually, but we will not do that in a gas station.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the medium that we're used to being connected, and that's such a big deal. So I mean, I truly do feel that there's a great kind of a polar shift happening. And the VR world will have its part to play. We are already mostly virtual people anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna. I feel like my kids are gonna be. We see those movies in the future where people are all in the VR. I feel like my kids are gonna be. Half the day in a virtual world, living a completely different life. I mean,
your kids. You're literally cutting into my pop one time right now.
I feel you, man. Exactly. So
just to shout it out, I went to my first virtual rap show the other day. It was Sadat X from Brand Nubian, who I'm a mega fan of.
You told us at the conference, it was on
Altspace.
Yeah.
A VR rap show. What? And not like a VR rap show with, a big, some right now art. A VR rap show with one of my heroes. I'm mad at me. Wore my button. It made me so happy I didn't talk to anybody for a week. Those type of things matter, and they really connect us. And since it's easier to connect virtually than it is in person, why wouldn't we?
Exactly. Yes.
And therein lies the real truth of the matter. Is just we're waiting for technology to catch up. This is the technology Max Headroom promised all of us.
No, you're 100% right. The technology in these platforms that allow us to connect peer-to-peer is what we're going to start seeing pop up over the years. And what's great about the platforms is they're not going to be owned by a central party. They're going to be owned by the community that uses that platform. Yeah. Mark Cuban wrote a piece like earlier this week saying like how, it's not your typical business model. It's not your typical business because it's owned by the community. You know what I mean? If there's no board of directors, there's a foundation. It's more built around the people that want to be in that economy.
Do you, again, take the same thing we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
It is unfathomable that the consumer would have any ideas at all, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unfathomable. Let me tell you something. You know who the fuck could fix the Knicks? Fucking Knicks fans. You know how hard it is to be a fucking Knicks fan? I'm a Knicks fan.
Oh,
yeah.
It's horrible.
It's not an easy road.
It's like loving an unclean woman. Yo, son, they've lost my whole life. Michael Jordan ruined my childhood.
Yeah. Yes, me too. I remember.
Yeah.
Everybody clapping for him.
When Ewing left the Knicks, I cried. When Ewing left the Knicks, I literally cried when I was a little kid. I was like, "What the fuck?"
It's Pat. And then the big angry Jamaican. Now he ain't a foul shooter, but fucking Pat. God damn it! It's the curse of John Starks, man. They did him dirty. Ever since then, it's just been downhill. But the point I'm making is the Knicks can be fixed. Why don't the fans have a say? We're the ones keeping them in business in the first place.
Yeah, no, they should be owned by the fans. That's a great concept to have the community own a sports team. You should expand on that. No, you should expand on that. You should. What I'm saying is like, why not, man? You get enough people together that could pay for it. Why the fuck not? That's a great idea.
Decisions that have to be made will obviously be made by stakeholders, and they're made currently by stakeholders. All that the Dow says is that doesn't need to be some dark back alley, some cigar-filled room with leather chairs and leather-bound books and no windows.
It's transparent, open.
It doesn't need to be a cabal, man. You don't need all that. People will buy things that they buy for good and bad reasons. People will buy them because they want to buy them, they can buy them, or because they think they have to buy them. That's people. But you don't need all the trickery. Diamonds aren't rare.
Nope, not at all.
You know, speaking of which,
my buddy's like, I was explaining, that's so funny. Like my buddy was very educated. I was like, oh, it's like gold, it's scarce, it's digital gold, it's Bitcoin. It's like diamonds, right? I'm like, diamonds are not rare, buddy. And this is one of my friends that I'm getting that echo. You guys hear that?
Yeah, I hear it a little bit.
Let me get off go to regular.
All right.
Sorry.
No, it's much better.
That's better?
I had no echo, but yeah, if it's better for you, it's better.
All right. No, man, I can't hear. I'm having weird.
Oh, now I hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like Optimus Prime is jacking off over there.
Yeah, that's exactly what that's what it sounded like. Is it still doing it? Why did it all of a sudden start doing that?
A little bit.
Weird.
It's all right.
Okay, let me exit and get back at.
Sorry.
All right. Sounds good.
But yeah, the thing with the DAO and how the benefit of it, at least to me, is that it allows transparency more than the control by people and It's the transparency. The same with smart contracts. Just it doesn't need to be all cloak and dagger. You know, everything can just be out in the open and people can make their own decision from it. Yeah, exactly. Some of the people go, oh, somebody's buying a little cartoon cat, $50,000. That's stupid. Really? Is it any dumber than diamonds?
Yeah, exactly.
I want to
values in the eye of the beholder. Yeah.
So you released an album a few years ago, The Return to Rap. And you actually have a song on there called Handprints. Now, I really like this song a lot. Do you plan on ever making this an NFT or creating some sort of NFT from this? You have a lot of good... Yes.
No disrespect to the work that I've done so far and the fine people who have found it in their hearts and wallets to support it, because I do appreciate all that. For stuff like Handprints, Handprints is something that... the deeper the meaning, the more personal it is for me. And, Handprints, for anyone who hasn't heard it, the song is about child labor.
Right.
And the hook is, you want Jordan. It's the perspective of both verses is the kids. One kid makes clothing and sneakers. The other one is a diamond miner in Sierra Leone or somewhere. And, it's you want Jordans, we make that shit. You want diamonds, we dig that ditch. You want Prada, we make that stitch. Everything covered in our handprints and everything covered in these little handprints. And it goes into this world. And the sewing kid, he's not mad at you. He takes pride. I heard you slept on the ground for the sneakers I made. You know, I heard that. Like, it makes him feel good. You know, and he doesn't think his life is so awful, even though, you know, he gets nothing for what he does.
Right.
And he said, this ain't a guilt trip if you can afford it. You know, you ain't Disney. You ain't Walmart. You ain't the one that did this to me. He lets you off the hook. The Diamond Kid doesn't take it so well.
No.
You know, and he kind of says, you know, how is a rock worth more than a child? I lost one. They cut my hand off for lying. He goes, I heard a rumor that they told y'all just what they do to us. They even call them blood diamonds. You know, why would you want to wear something so violent?
Yes.
And in his mind,
That's the verse.
you know, he said, I can't read, but I seen a TV once. It had you on it. Oh, you were covered in diamonds. All of you smiling. Get back to work, yells one of the tyrants. He don't forgive you. Because you take these little stones they kill his friends for and put them in a cross to represent your God. And he's like, whatever God you love is a prick. Fuck you, fuck your chain, fuck your watch. I hope more planes crash and kill your whole country. You make me sick. His anger comes from his lack of being able to understand how you're so ambivalent about his pain. And it also is a forewarning of how you create, like South Park did a good episode on Mexican Joker. This is how you create Mexican Joker. This is how you create terrorists.
Yeah.
This is how you build people who grow up hating you because he doesn't understand why you don't care. You live on the fucking we live on the fucking Death Star, man.
You seen that last night? Yeah.
And we walk around telling ourselves, well, I'm not Darth Vader. I'm not fucking Anakin. And you're not Darth Vader. You're not a stormtrooper. You're just a fucker that works in the fucking cooling system, and you're going to get sherbet because it's your day off, and they're out of strawberry. And it's no strawberry. Well, why? Oh, because the strawberry came from the planet the rebels and the fucking rebels, man. Hates for freedom. Studying some fucking strawberry. You live with a Death Star.
Yes, entitlement. People, it's
you're so far away from their reality, it's not even real.
Yeah.
That's why we have to make movies about blood diamonds, because it's not real.
And you know what's bothersome and really disturbing is that everything that has gotten us to this point in 2021 is this very antiquated, parasitic, I would say self-destructive financial system. You know, whether it comes to blood diamonds, whether it comes to, you know, the sweatshops. On one hand, we all have a part in it, and on the other hand, it is also the product of a lot of things over the past 100 years. So, you know, my deepest hope is that with blockchain and cryptocurrency technology, it could help liberate people. I mean, I'm very optimistic, and I think it's very promising. It really could be a liberating force across the board, across the world.
Well, shout out to people like El Salvador, and you know,
Yeah,
I've heard the back chat on that particular conversation where it's, well, yeah, of course, El Salvador.
Right, yeah. Well, people dismiss it because it's El Salvador.
I won't speak for the fine, and I know some lovely El Salvadorian people. You know, I grew up with some of them, very kind, very well. I'll speak for that. I'll speak for that flag right there.
Yeah.
I know what happened with that.
Yeah.
I know that the U.S. and this is not conspiracy theory. This is my grandfather's over in fucking Orlando. You can call him up and ask him. He was there. The U.S. and Britain rigged an election to put someone in power who would never have won.
Yeah, done that many times too.
Thinking a black guy would be easier to control than an Indian guy. And when it didn't work out for them, because little did they know, Guyanese is a fucking Guyanese. You ain't controlling none of us. We make terrible slaves. Just the whole country of them. None of us are good at doing what we're told. We're just a rebellious people. We love to argue. It's a great culture. I love being that. They crushed their dollar. Guyana isn't poor. Poor in what? Poor in oil? No.
Yeah.
Poor in diamonds? No. In fact, if you used Reynolds Wrap between 1950 whatever and 1970 or 80 whatever, your bauxite came from my country.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck are we poor? You like Swiss chocolate? Do you really? It's fucking Africa chocolate. Is it really Swiss?
No. No, not at all.
Who sold it to you?
Yeah.
Water.
How the fuck are these people? How are you poor? You're poor in negotiation. But world's getting faster. People catching up. And that's why it's important to be fair.
Yeah.
And if you've done dirt, cool. I've done dirt. Tons of it. But it's important to still be fair. Because even if you've done dirt, at least put on the good face of fair. It'll make whatever recompense or comeuppance that's probably heading your way, maybe take a few people, drop a little something off first. Because just be fair. Like the NFT art, and no one's asking for record labels to shut down. No one's trying to be, I'm not some fucking iconoclast. I'm not an anarchist. There's a place for everybody. You just just be fair. A fair wage. I grew up on 90s hip hop, man. How many of the guys that I grew up listening to that had hit fucking records? Hits. Massive hits.
Yeah.
Listen, none of us are 18 years old. You could not escape woe from Black Rob.
Yep. And look at how he died.
Where you were.
Look at how he died, man. That was a sad story.
Yeah.
That was sad.
And that was the tip of an iceberg of how many people we've forgotten.
Yep.
We've literally just forgotten them. Like they didn't matter anymore. And whatever their songs did, those royalties go to people who could give less than a fuck about their family.
Yeah.
And that's not, at some level, no matter who you are, okay, they signed a bad deal, but nobody wants to obliterate anybody.
No.
You know, nobody wants to destroy anybody. But that's the vibe, and that's, I talk to a lot of international people. And of course, you know, there's going to be their international viewpoint. And well, yes, I mean, but you've gone through the freedom, right? And I play along half the time. But the truth is, in America, there is really the American dream. You can truly go from something to something really great. Because I don't think anybody's nothing. So you can go from something to something really great or something really wealthy, or you can make a decision to design an app, make a song. You can do a thing individually that'll ripple through the generations of your family for years.
Right.
Massive wealth. And you can amass it from nothing. Stockbrokers. I mean, lots of people did it.
Yeah.
But the other side of that coin is the pursuit of happiness. You're free to pursue it. There's no guarantee you catching that. And if you fail, you'll die in the gutter.
Yeah.
That's the downside of freedom. If you fail at the pursuit of happiness and the American dream, we will step over you in Skid Row. Any major city dehumanizes its homeless population. Look at New York.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And a lot of them people ain't just houseless. There's severe, mental health issues that we don't fuck them, homeless fucking.
There's domestic violence. There's trauma. There's
a lot.
And
it's homelessness in New York City is a whole nother discussion. But yeah, I mean, I worked on an application that was meant to allow homeless people to accept through a QR code, and that QR code got loaded to a Visa card where they could use it at approved places because nobody has cash anymore. So people are walking by these people with no cash. How are they going to, So with this application, you scan a QR code, you were able to see a little bit about their history, and you could know with confidence when you made that donation, it was getting loaded onto a card that couldn't be used for alcohol, couldn't be used for gambling, could only be used in approved places where they could use to get the supplies they need, clothing, toothpaste, brushes, and stuff like that. It never panned out, but when working on that application and working with homeless people and hearing their stories, it opened my eyes because, like you said, like you think of homeless people in your city, like whatever, they're, just that they chose to be that way. 90% of homeless people do not want to be homeless, man. It's not a choice they want. It's really sad. Some of the stories that I would hear of mental health, abuse, and it's I don't want to get deep into it, but I completely understand where you're coming from when it comes to that. And society has become so desensitized to it where we don't even care anymore. And it's very, very sad that we've gotten to a point where, like you said, Skid Row, I'm just going to step right on over you. And I don't even know where to go from that, but I agree with you. And
let me just say, I know that your heart's in the right place just based on how you describe it. Do I like an app that can turn the other humans down in their luck into fucking pound puppies, where I could look at your shit and be like, nah, you don't get $1. I don't like that. I think it's easier to just cure the problem of houselessness. And we can work on the mental health stuff once we get you inside, because people become very desperate in survival mode when a place to sleep is paramount over decency and keeping up your end of the social contract. So for society to function, we take care of the least among us. And we already do it in places like the airport. Like I'm coming through, flying out of Mexico, going through Houston, and I gotta go through these fucking corral pens like I'm a cattle. And the guys, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? And I said, wait, man, we only move as the slowest members of our society. We're stupid, little old man. And I said, well, it's not really. Technically speaking, I'm a lot fucking bigger and stronger than you. I could knock your old ass down and go ahead of you. Right. But society says we shouldn't. And because I might be tempted to if I'm late for my flight, they make us go through these pens to just slow us down so we're not all backing up at a queue. And he goes, well, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, because you're old and little and your bones don't work. So, don't be a dick.
Yeah, no.
Hey, I'm literally looking in my fridge at what I don't want to eat. Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that. Look at me, fucking King Midas, making all these goddamn food decisions. There's people who are deciding what's safe for them to eat. And those two people shouldn't exist in a free country. There shouldn't be such a wide divide. I'm not saying everyone needs to kick out money to people and just hand people cash, but the system can be a little less severe in what happens if you lose.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I think with blockchain and crypto now being 2021, we at least have to really have very creative ways of solving these problems. I don't think we can look at traditional government or traditional economies anymore, or even just human decency in most people to really resolve these problems anymore. It's really going to take a handful of people, chasing their dream with startups, with artistry and whatnot to do this. And hopefully if these things gain momentum, this could also teach other people and make people better. At least make their immediate surroundings, whether it's in their house, their town or whatever, just a little bit better. Because there is something lacking in, I think, the soul and decency nowadays. And it's a lot of it is because things have become so difficult. And when things become harder, it's easier to rationalize being more selfish, being more harsh, being more cold, being more cutthroat. And like you're saying, I think we're only as good as the weakest in our society. Listen, it's very true. You look in, New York City, Los Angeles, the way the homeless situation is described in the media, it's almost the same as the way COVID is being described. This is a pandemic. We have to look for a cure. This is damaging for everybody. Everybody's scared. Everybody's panicking.
Yeah, now
we're talking about people.
Hoovervilles. Now, if I'm being real, now because them homeless people we stepped over. Hey, yo, a large percentage of this country don't have $400 in the case of an emergency.
Absolutely, yeah.
What would happen if, I don't know, use your fucking thinking cap. What would happen if global pandemic, right? Some weird shit we never saw coming. but we knew it was coming. Shut down everything.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't that be crazy? What if you couldn't pay your rent, yo? Wouldn't that be fucking bananas? What would happen when it's all said and done and they make you have to start paying rent, but you still don't have any money, and now you owe rent because they stalled rent, and now your landlord's looking at you like something to eat, so they kick you out, and now there's fucking Hoovervilles.
And then they'll sue you in a few months for the unpaid rent, and this is.
But
this is.
I want to make it. I want to really just handcuff it to the blockchain thing you said.
Yeah.
English, you ever try to give a cat a bath?
No, but I tried to give my dog a bath, and it's very similar. Barking,
No. Dogs ultimately really, really need your affection. It's like a heroin for them. So you're still holding his heroin. So at some point he's gonna just fucking let it happen.
Right.
Cats don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
So you're really like, it's kind of like trying to give somebody a bath on the 2 train. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Before they finally get in the water and it all starts happening, that cat is going to do some mighty fine biting and scratching. Before crypto is allowed to destabilize the dollar, because that's the direction we're talking about going, right? To be honest. People who are rich in said dollar are going to probably resort to some pretty interesting things to maintain their pecking order in the world.
It's already happening. You're already starting to see it unfold.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but this is just the beginning, babe.
I know. Oh, I know. It's going to get really ugly over the next.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Mark Cuban took a little slip this week, and he's calling for regulations now.
You want to talk about bag holders? Who was the last nigga holding 100 million Prussian francs?
Yeah.
Right.
Yo, ain't nobody trying to go out like that. The U.S. currency as a world dollar matters. They killed Gaddafi for shit like this.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. And, listening to Michael Saylor's talk earlier this week, he doesn't think the dollar's going anywhere. You know what I mean? He doesn't. I don't think so either. But I do see Bitcoin being a savings account for a lot of people that need it. You know what I mean? It's the dollar is going to be the unit of account, but Bitcoin will be an asset that people can hold to store their wealth. You know what I mean?
To be fair, in order for the dollar isn't backed. Like you'll hear people, the dollar's not backed by anything. The dollar is backed by something. Well, it's backed by something more rare and more precious than gold. It's backed by gunpowder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't really want to go to war with us. So the U.S. as a power in the world, that ain't changing no time soon without a lot of shit getting fucked up. Because again, we're not going to go you're not going to tell people who are career military that all of a sudden it was all for nothing. We're going to go out like champs, or we're not going to go out. And I don't think we're going to go out. I think crypto has its place. I think they'll incorporate as much of it as possible. I think DAOs are nice, but giving people control is just not in the interest of people who like control.
Yeah, and I gotta say, on that note, I think let's end it here. This has been an awesome.
Did the NSA just text you? Because if so,
I know.
Seriously,
I know, right? Yeah, Tiger's a little uncanny there.
I don't even know what I'm not gonna remember none of this. It's been up for days. So you can dismiss most of it, frankly.
I didn't hear anything.
But man, I'm fat. I need my bed, so like I can't sleep in a cell that with like no windows and shit. Like Guantanamo ain't for people like me. Naked sex pyramid sounds fun, like on my birthday, but not with a bunch of dudes. In Cuba. Nothing against the fine Cuban people, I'm sure.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I really don't know what you're talking about, Kane.
I just don't want that lady pointing at my schwam bone, yo. You know what I mean?
I understand. Yeah.
She was pointing at a schwam bone, like real cavalier.
Listen, Kane, I want you to have the last word here. Now, not forever, just for this discussion. Have the last word here. We hit a lot of good things today.
Based on your phrasing of last word, I imagine that some sort of government agency told you to tell me that. I just think that
Ending
America's
thoughts,
great.
final thoughts, like
And,
Jerry Springer or something like
I
that.
think all this Bitcoin stuff just has to go away, get back to normal. Right? I think that the greatest financial crime I've ever seen or heard about was what happened with GameStop. And I think that you cannot deliberately and continuously butt fuck the retail investor in the mouth in the age of information and think he's going to lay down and take it. And I think that artists are going to art, innovators are going to innovate. This is STEM, realistically, and when you add the A to it, it becomes steam. And if you try to contain steam in something that's not meant to contain it, it'll burst it the fuck open. So I think that we can channel all this positive energy that we have, because the space is super positive with really great people. And I think we can make some amazing innovations happen in the next 10 to 15 years. Or I think this can be a pissing contest, and we got the smart bomb. So
that's awesome.
No,
well said.
The first one you said, thanks again, man. This was a great conversation.
Thanks very much.
This was awesome.
Chris, English put on a polo shirt. Come on, this is a special occasion, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna wear a T-shirt originally.
Nah, this was a great.
This has been really great, man. I really appreciate you guys taking the time, and thank you very much for showing interest. I love the Vice City stuff that English was doing, and it's just really great.
I had a lot of fun with that.
We've talked like 8 times, me and him. We just been talking.
Something like that. Yeah.
So
like 8 or 9 phone calls since.
Well,
it's been awesome. Like, I talked to him when I was making NFTs. So.
Yeah, well, let's definitely do this again in the future for sure. And
100%.
A couple months and see what's going on and catch up with some current events, see where you're at. Same with us, man. So I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you guys. It was really fun.
Thank you very much.
I hope that you don't get in trouble and that PingaPay does not get shut down. If so, switch back to the PiñaPay thing, because that's a good idea too. But literally selling your joint, selling your Johnsons, man. That's crypto ain't ready for that.
There's always an economy for that, if anything else.
Hooking in the metaverse hookering. Come on now.
Right, that's right.
Any innovation, porn beats into it. You guys are ahead of porn.
We are ahead of porn. Wow.
On it.
I think we're winning.
They pay for the pinga.
All right, man.
Awesome.
All right, man.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
You guys have a fantastic one. Absolute pleasure, man.
Absolute